Welcome back for episode 33 of our road to 1500. We're actually sitting at 12:22 at the moment. We haven't really done any recording for a little while. We've played a few games since the draw on our last game. We've played a few games. It's kind of come out even in terms of we've won a few and we've lost a few. So we kind of ended up at the same elo. I've been putting quite a lot of effort into learning my lines using the Lotus Chess app, also doing pattern recognition training, which is essentially doing puzzles on chess.com. If anyone's interested in learning a bit more about how I go about that, drop me a comment. Today we're going to play a game of 15-10. We want to try and get on a little winning run here. It'd be really nice to be able to hit 1300 in the near future. We got ourselves up to 1260 not that long ago, so hopefully we can make our way back up again. Let's see who we are playing today and search for an opponent. We've got the black pieces. We're playing against a 1260. They have played the king's pawn, so we are going to oblige with c6, and then we'll play d5, and we will play the Caro-Kann as we always do. And they're playing the exchange variation. They're playing it very fast. We've actually seen this a fair amount recently. Which one will we do first? Let's bring this knight out first to protect. They're bringing their knight out. I'm going to attack this one. They're actually bringing their bishop out that side. I think we're going to want to pin their knight, and we will take. They take with the queen. So take. I think that's a mistake because I can take this pawn. This is hanging now. That would be a fork. Not sure they should have taken with the queen. They're playing very fast. And I think we just move our knight back now. Okay. So then they're going to come in with their knight. Okay, so let's just work this out. So we take, then they take. We can then attack the knight. Yeah, so take, attack the knight. And the knight needs to move. If it comes here or here, we just take it. If it goes there, we take it. Oh, if it comes here, yeah, if it takes there, we take it. I don't think I'm too worried about that. So they've taken with the queen. So that's interesting. Okay, so if I take, I'm going to bring the knight in. Right, hang on a sec. So if we take, they bring the knight in. I could throw in a check. They take, we take, we're threatening a fork here. They're also threatening a check. So we could do a check. They alternatively check, bring the bishop out. I mean, we could actually pin the knight here. first. If they take, we take. Should we try that? Because if they take us, we just take with the rook. It's protect. If we bring the bishop here, it is protected. Let's pin the knight, because I don't think we want to take in this situation. If we take this, it doubles their pawns. We may have made a little bit of a misstep in the opening here. Sometimes it's difficult if your opponent plays super fast. Okay, I think that's a mistake because we can now take the queen and they can't take us because they're pinned. So I think our opponents messed that up and missed the pin. This is the thing. If you play super quick, then you can find yourself in this kind of trouble. This bishop, this knight is pinned to the king, and this is hanging. They could if they castle, then yeah, and they've abandoned the game, so we win that one. So just tactically a step ahead of our opponent on that. Let's just have a look at the game review. So this will probably be a fairly quick video. Let's turn it to the analysis screen. I think some of our study has been paying off, but I still think that really it's our opponent was playing so quick. So we played with a 98.4. Let's just bear in mind here that there weren't that many moves in this game, but it doesn't look like we made any missteps, which I'm pleased about. And the game rating by chess.com was 2050, which I think is one of the highest we've had. But again, there were very few moves, but we didn't make any mistakes. Let's have a quick look at the review. So we went into the exchange version of the Caro-Kann, which basically means that you take on the d file, and you're left with the two d pawns here. They brought their knight out. We brought our knight out. Yeah, so actually, this is probably where we should just pay attention, because typically I like to bring, and I don't know why I didn't do this, I like to bring the bishop out to pin the knight so that it stops it from doing anything. It can't sort of jump in or anything. So that would have been the better move. But it was still excellent. They brought their bishop out. We then obliged by bringing ours out. And it was best to take. Now, this is where, so it was best for them to take with their queen, but they left. You always, in the Caro-Kann, you always want to be keeping an eye on this d4 pawn. This is what we're trying to attack. And they've basically left that undefended. So the best move was to do that. They brought it over. It was the best move to come back. They took. So actually recapturing, we should have, it was better for us to recapture this way. That makes sense because it actually gives more protection to our king by leaving a pawn in front of the king. Albeit, I guess in my mind, I'm thinking this immediately opens up the bishop. So our opponent has a slight advantage here. They take the pawn, and this is where we had a think, because your brain is saying, let's just attack this queen. But by attacking the queen, we let them develop their knight into our half of the board. And then they're in a position where they're threatening to maybe deliver a fork. So they can deliver a check on our king and then potentially pick up the rook if we don't keep our eyes on that. So I didn't want to take. Let's see. This was the best move. We've pinned the knight to the king, and importantly, this bishop is defended. Now, one of the things in my study is that when I move a piece, I want to be very careful, especially if I'm putting it in the opponent's half of the board, that it's defended. Okay, so this is defended by the knight. So I think it was a sound move. It was the best move. And it was at this point here that our opponent, they brought their bishop out looking to pin us as well. But they've just not calculated properly, because we could have actually delivered a check first to double their pawns and then come up with the queen. But it's a free queen, so it's very hard to resist. So we took the free queen, and our opponent understandably resigned at that point. At this stage, we could have just this was hanging. They're in all sorts of trouble, so they are lost. So we'll leave it at there for this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and comment if you want to join the conversation. And I will see you on the next video very soon. Cheers. Bye.